welcome to More Time in the Kitchen. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make another bento box. So I did another bento box video a little while ago, about a month ago, on a sandwich and fruit bento box. So today we're doing something that's a little bit more sort of traditionally Japanese, Sanshoku bento box. So a Sanshoku bento box is essentially a box with 3 different colours in it. So you could use any ingredients that are 3 different colours, but what I'm going to show you how to make today is one with some ginger turkey mince, some sesame spinach and some scrambled egg. So I'm going to show you how to make all of those and how to present them in the box. So let's get cooking. So I'm going to start with the rice, so we're just going to put some plain rice on the bottom of the bento box. I've got some sticky rice or short grain rice here. I've got 2 cups of it in there. If you don't have any short grain rice, you're more than welcome to use long grain rice. In this recipe it doesn't really matter too much, whereas if you're making something like sushi or rice balls, you do need that sticky rice. So you know, use what you've got. But I'll show you here how to prepare the short grain rice if you don't already know how. So you want to just rinse it first, because it usually comes with a sort of talc on it that you just want to get rid of. You could run it under the tap as well until it runs clear. You're going to stick that back in your rice cooker or your pan, wherever you're cooking it, and then we're going to add some water. So I've got 2 cups of rice in here, so I'm going to add 3 cups of rice. If you're making 1 cup of rice, you'd add 1.5 cups of water, etc. as a sort of rule of thumb. So I'm going to stick that in the microwave for 12.5 minutes. Time might vary slightly if you're cooking it on a different hob or if you buy a different brand, etc. So you basically want it to be, it still should have a bit of liquid in there, and the rice should look sort of starting to get sort of gelatinous, unlike your long rice, whereas if you know, if the ham, you've overdone your long rice, but we want this to happen for the short grain rice. Because it should stick together. So I would usually brown mince, or you know, any meat, if I was cooking it to get a bit more flavour into it. But for this recipe you want a uniform colour to the mince, so I'm going to just cook it over a medium heat for a little bit longer. So we'll get the oil in. So once you've got your turkey mince in the pan, you just want to break it up a little bit. So we're going to let that cook for 5 minutes, just stirring it around as we go. So 5 minutes have passed and there's still a few pink bits in the mince. We're just going to add the flavourings now. So I've got my piece of garlic, I'm just going to grate it straight into the pan. And I'm going to do the same with the ginger. We're then going to add just a teaspoonful of sugar. So a teaspoon of sugar helps the turkey mince go down. And last but not least, we're going to add the light soy sauce. So you can add 1 to 2 teaspoonsful of soy sauce. Try to get it all mixed in evenly again, so that we've got a uniform colour to the mince. And then you just want to continue stirring and breaking up the mince a little bit more until it's all cooked through. So that'll take another 3 minutes or so. So topping number 9 is scrambled eggs. So I've got 5 eggs here. You can use 4 or 5 depending on the size of the eggs. This is for 4 bento boxes, by the way. You've got some milk. I'm just going to add a splash of milk. And I've got some salt for seasoning. So it's just your basic scrambled eggs, but don't go away even if you do know how to make scrambled eggs, because I've got a question for you guys. And the question is, if you could go anywhere in the world to visit, you know, for a holiday, where would it be? I'm going to start cracking the eggs while you have a think, while you comment. I wish you could do that thing where you do it with one hand, you know, like chefs, do like 2 at a time. So that's all the eggs in there. We're going to add a splash of milk and a little bit of salt. And just give them a good beating. And just give them a good beating. So for me it would be Japan. I love it for the food culture, obviously. Yeah, I think if I went there I would mostly be eating the entire time. But yeah, I love their food culture, I love the presentation of the food. I like seafood as well, and they use seafood quite a lot. Especially like to be able to get that really fresh seafood as well, would be great. I think it would be a really good place to go to do like touristy stuff as well. You know, learn about the history, go and visit some Shinto shrines, things like that. I do worry a little bit about like not being able to speak Japanese. I know like a tiny bit, but not enough to like have an actual conversation. But it's somewhere I'd love to go. I'd love to go to Thailand as well. I've got a friend, a family friend in Thailand who I'd love to go visit, but like the ticket prices are quite expensive. And you know, if we were to go, I think we would want to go as a family. But my sister and my mum don't deal with heat very well, so. But yeah, maybe one day. Definitely want to go to Japan one day. Right, so the eggs are well whisked as I've been blathering on, so let's get them in the pan. So as I've said, we're dealing with your standard scrambled eggs here. So pop a little oil in the pan and wait for that to heat up. Once your oil's good and hot, go ahead and add in your scrambled egg. Again, we're going to cook this on a fairly low heat and stir continuously to get an even colour on the egg. So you want to wait until it starts getting solid around the side and the bottom, and then just start moving it around the pan. And just keep going until it's all hardened up and you get it into small chunks. Okay, so I'm happy with that, so I'm going to take it off the heat and set it aside to cool. So our last topping is super simple to make. We've just got some baby spinach and some toasted sesame oil. You can add a little bit of soy sauce as well. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of the toasted sesame oil in the pan. And I'm going to add my spinach. We're going to add about another tablespoon of the toasted sesame oil on top. So this is just to make sure that it all gets covered. And I'm going to add a really small amount of soy sauce as well. Probably about half a tablespoon. And we're just going to stir it about, it needs a very short cooking time, so about 2 minutes. So you want to watch for the spinach in the bottom of the pan starting to wilt. And once most of it is wilted, you're going to take it off the heat and leave it to the side, and the rest will just wilt in that residual heat. Okay, so I'd say that's it wilted enough now for us to leave it to one side to just continue wilting. So what you want to do before you start putting everything in your box is to make sure that everything is around about room temperature. You want everything to be the same sort of temperature. Now obviously we've freshly cooked all of this, but particularly if you're taking something out of the freezer or out of the fridge, this is important. Get everything to the right temperature, because you don't want some things sort of heating up if they've cooled down. That encourages bacterial growth. We've had a recent case in the UK of a load of frozen vegetables being recalled because they were contaminated with listeria. Apparently 9 people died. So it's, you know, it's a good reminder to be careful with your food. Make sure you reheat frozen stuff, etc. It's one of the things that I mentioned in my blog post about bento box making, getting into bento box making. It's 10 tips for getting into bento box making. I'll link to that in the description as well as the recipe for this. So anyway, everything here is the right temperature, so we'll start putting things into the box. So you can tell why this is called sticky rice. It's very sticky. So we're just going to put a layer of the rice into the bottom of the dish. I've only got 2 boxes here because I want to show you 2 different ways of presenting the food, but it is enough for 4, possibly a bit more for the mince, so maybe you could use the mince in something else as well. Because I've just done the one thing that I've always feared would happen when doing a YouTube video, and I started doing a bit without hitting record. So as you can see, I've already started filling the bento box with the turkey mince. So as I said, but obviously didn't record, I've got 2 ways that I'm going to show you how to fill the bento box. So you've got sort of just straight lines, you know, just like stripes, or you can do like a sort of triangular shape. So I'm doing the stripes now. So that's turkey mince in, and then you can add in the spinach. You can see how much it's wilted since taking off the heat. So this is why you don't want to keep it going for longer than necessary. Okay, there we go, and I've managed to keep it fairly even using a little ruler there, so you can use that tip as well if you want. The last thing I'm going to do is just take a few sesame seeds and pop them in the middle. So there's just something different in the middle there. Obviously the sesame seeds are going to go with this because it's toasted sesame spinach. But you know, if you're doing something different, you could maybe add maybe like a little dried seaweed, or maybe some pickled ginger or something like that. Just zhuzhes it up a little bit. So for the next one, I'm going to make 3 triangles. So I'm quite lucky with this bento box that it's got this sort of little indent in the middle, so I can use that as a sort of marker for where I want the middle to be. And again, you can use something like a ruler as a marker, but I generally find you don't really need it. So simply fill it in sort of according to corner. If you go over a little bit, it doesn't matter too much because you can always sort of cover it up and budget along with the next ingredient. And again, just sprinkle a few sesame seeds in the middle. And there you go, that's the second one. So that was how to make a Sanshoku bento box from start to finish. If you try out the recipe, please let me know if you enjoy it, and if you take a picture of it, then I would absolutely love to see it. So tag me on Instagram or Twitter. And as always, if you want to see more content like this in the future, then subscribe, hit the like button, yada yada. But for now, cheery bye! But what I'm going to use today is some turkey mince.